Hey everybody, Steve here in the Illinois recording studio. All right, we got crazy stuff today. We're not trying to sell anything today, we're just having fun with, and it's a little bit of a lesson today about something called cocktail drums, cocktail kits. So, long time ago, maybe even before I was born, or right thereabouts, sometimes you had people playing in lounges, and they didn't have room for big drum sets. So somebody came up with the bright idea of making something called a cocktail kit, meaning it was played in cocktail lounges. So maybe you got a nice little trio. You got, maybe you got piano, bass, and drums. Or sometimes the vocalist would play this cocktail kit. And basically, what it was a concoction of things made up so that you could basically have the equivalent of a drum set for rhythm on a stage without taking up a whole lot of space. So, what they had, a great example of what's called a cocktail drum, they usually were like this one over here. And this is a beautiful WFL that belonged to a good friend of mine, Peter Erskine. Actually, I sold it to Peter and I bought it back a while later. And this is basically, you got a very, very deep, 24-inch deep drum. This one has a 14-inch head and a little 3x13 snare drum. So generally, somebody would play this with, maybe with brushes. And you got a little cymbal over here for effects, and this for a little bit of a tom sound. And they made a pedal, bass drum pedal, that would be reversible so you could play underneath like a little bass drum, just for a little bit of, rhythm in the trio. And keep in mind, okay, we're not playing in the stadium and the arenas, and we're not playing Stairway to Heaven here. It's just, standards in a lounge with piano, bass, and this little set of drums. And like I said, maybe the vocalist played on these. So that's what you had as one example of it right here. This is another example that's a little bit different. This one is actually a bass drum that is a 20-inch, 18 deep by 20-inch head bass drum that can be flipped over to what you see here with as a cocktail drum, so that you could either set it up as a traditional kit and have the snare drum, just have a snare drum and bass drum, or tip it up this way. So, 6 on one, half a dozen on the other, whatever. But again, same thing, pedal underneath, and then the top for a tom, a big tom, and a snare drum on a stand in this case. And most of these cocktail drums had little arms and stands coming off this basic drum here because, again, you're trying to conserve space in a club. So you think about it, you're in a club, you got this little bit of space right here, that's not bad. And if you wanted to sit on it, you could have a high stool like maybe a bass player would use. This one is designed, again, a little bit lower, so it's more for someone sitting on a stool. And here is an incredible example from Rogers. Rogers was really fantastic at devising what they call the Swivomatic tom mounting system, and you can see all of that here. And most importantly, this is purple diamond pearl, which was a real color that was never cataloged. It is real. It is not a fake. It is not black diamond that turned purple. I have this cocktail kit, and I also have a complete drum set in this finish in this same condition. So it's absolutely amazing on a couple of different levels. But here, what Rogers did was, well, you hang your snare drum off this bracket here with a tom arm. You hang this tom off the bracket here, same deal. A couple of cymbal arms can hang here, and you could angle those out any way you wanted to. And again, you got the pedal underneath, so you get a little bass drum sound there. So, just for fun, we're going to play on these a little bit. Don't expect this to be fantastic tonality and things like that. They're a little funky, they're a little weird, and I didn't spend a huge amount of time tuning up. I just want to give you a little sense for the fun that these things are. So, hang on. Crazy stuff. Don't expect too much out of them, like I said. It's wild, it's crazy, it's funky stuff, but it's a real example of something that goes way back to the past and an idea that actually wasn't a bad one. And I've even seen some modern acts, and I could name several of them, have actually taken a cocktail kit like this out on stage in their big arena act and do a little quiet, like an acoustic set with a cocktail drum set up. Mick Fleetwood used to do it actually at Fleetwood Mac and several others. So anyway, a little bit of a history lesson and some crazy stuff to play. Hope you had fun with it.